Dr. R. Sugaraj Samuel. He is working as a professor in physics at New College, Chennai. He is also training students for IIT JEE, AIEEE and BIT SAT. He has more than 16 years experience in both teaching and research. He has published a book titled The Complete Handbook of Bachelor of Electronic Science Practicals, which is prescribed for the syllabus for BSc Electronic Science by University of Madras. He has presented papers in several national and international conferences and has also conducted many training programs and workshops to motivate energetic students. His research areas are ultrasonic, polymers, crystal growth and photovoltaic systems. He is experienced in both regular classroom teaching and online teaching as well.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in electricity and magnetism. We have been listening to a series of lectures on the subject magnetism produced by current elements in this part of the lecture series. In today's lecture, we are going to start a new subtopic, that is the force that is acting on the charged particles due to the magnetic field. Before we start the lecture at length, let us see the session outline for today's lecture. In this session, we are going to see force on a charge due to magnetic field, which is called Lorentz force, circulating charges in magnetic field and the magnetic protection given to earth from cosmic radiations. So, this lecture is fully devoted to the magnetic force that is acting on the charges and also the current carrying conductors. So, let us start with the magnetic force concept. H. A. Lorentz formulated the special features of the force F B, which is the magnetic force, which is also called the Lorentz force. Experiments on various charged particles moving in a magnetic field give the following results. A kind of meticulous experiments have been conducted to study the nature of the force produced by the magnetic field on charges. There are quite a bit of interesting results we get when we go through the results obtained by the conducted experiments. So, let us look at the outcome of these experiments and then finally see a consolidated equation that would take care of all the experimental results. So, this is going to be the list of experimental observations and the results. The magnitude and direction of the force due to magnetic field depend on the velocity of the particle and on the magnitude and direction of the magnetic field. So, it depends on two quantities, the direction of the velocity and also the direction of the magnetic field. The force depends on these two vector quantities. And further, what do we have? When a charged particle moves parallel to the magnetic field vector, the magnetic force acting on the particle is 0. This is again an interesting observation and the result. When the charge moves parallel or in line with the magnetic field, it does not experience any force, that means it goes unaffected. And the next observation is, when the velocity vector makes an angle theta with the magnetic field, the magnetic force acts in perpendicular direction to both the velocity vector v and the magnetic field B, that is the force due to the magnetic field F B is perpendicular to both V and B. So, here comes the direction about the force, the velocity and the magnetic field. The force due to the magnetic field is found to be perpendicular to both the velocity and the magnetic field. The velocity and the magnetic field can have any orientation, the angle between them can be any value, but the magnetic force is perpendicular to both the velocity and the magnetic field. So, these are the meticulous experiments conducted and the observations made out of experiments, and the conclusion is given in one single equation, that is a quite interesting equation. That equation itself is called Lorentz force equation, because it was done mainly by the scientist Lorentz. So, what is the equation? Let us see the equation. This is the consolidated equation. All these results are combined in a single expression as shown here. The force due to the magnetic field is equal to q times the vector product of the velocity and the magnetic field expressed here as v and b. So, we are going to take the vector product, or it is simply called as cross product. We need to have the results or the properties of vector product. This itself is quite an interesting equation. So, let us look at the properties that we get from the equation. Suppose if we have a vector A which is equal to the cross product of the two vectors B vector and C vector. So, by the property itself A will be perpendicular to both B and C. So, this is the property. So, that is met with in this case. So, this force is perpendicular to both the velocity and the magnetic field, and also we cannot change the order, we cannot write it as B cross V, we have to write it as V cross B, because if you change the order then there is a minus sign involved, and if it is written in the scalar form we have to write it as q v b sin theta. Theta is the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field. The cross product concepts are now known to us, or we have the prior knowledge about all that. So, that will be useful in understanding the way in which the magnetic force acts on a charge. And if you look at this equation, why there is no force acting on the charge when the charge moves in line with the magnetic field? Have a look at this equation. What will happen if theta is 0? Because when the velocity is in the same direction as B, when the charge moves in the same direction, theta is 0. So, sin 0 will make this equation become 0. So, there is no magnetic force experienced by the charge which is moving in the direction of the B, and also in the same way if it is moving in the opposite direction then the angle is 180, sin 180 is also 0, right. So, this equation accommodates all that, the results that have been observed from the experiments conducted. So, this magnetic force is to be properly analyzed with the mathematical expression that we have got called the Lorentz equation, and lot more are to be learnt from the concepts. Let us see what we have further. This is an illustration which shows clearly how the force, magnetic force is perpendicular to both the velocity vector and the magnetic field vector. The angle theta can be any value, it is between the two vectors V and B, and the force is perpendicular to both, mutually perpendicular to both. And this is another orientation shown here, when we have the magnetic field existing like this, and if we consider a plane. So, when the velocity is upward, as far as a positive charge is concerned, it experiences force in this direction, and in the same way for a negative charge when it is moving up, as far as this orientation is concerned, the magnetic force is in the opposite direction. So, the two charges will experience force in the opposite direction because their charges are different. Now, how about the directions which are opposite as far as the two charges are concerned, the positive and negative charges? Does our formula accommodate this? Yes, it very well accommodates. So, have a look at this good old formula which I have shown. So, in this equation we will have to consider the sign of the charge. Suppose if it is a positive charge, we have to write the FB is equal to plus Q V B and sin theta, and this plus sign has a meaning here because it takes care of the direction of the force. And in the same way, for negative charge, FB is minus Q V B sin theta. So, this minus sign will take care of the direction of the force, whether it is positive direction or negative direction. In vectors, the positive and negative directions mean the opposite, right. If you have a vector quantity A and the minus A is just the opposite, the sign takes care of the direction. So, here also in the same way it takes care of the direction, and lot more are to be discussed as far as the directions are concerned. If you look at this diagram, it does not show one straight line, it shows a curved line like this. Then what about the path? It shows a curved line. This is a momentary diagram. At that moment it experiences force which is perpendicular to this magnetic field and the velocity, but as the velocity keeps changing, the path is a curved path. So, lot more are to be learnt why there is a curved path taken by the charge when it moves in magnetic field. We will have to learn about this, but we will see few more orientations, few more concepts to find out the direction of the magnetic force. We can use several notations. One easy notation is the right hand rule. In the right hand rule, we will use our right hand to find out the vector direction of a cross product. How do we do this? How we do? We use our right hand, and in the direction of the first vector we will show the other fingers, and in the direction of the second vector we will move our fingers, and then the thumb points the direction of the cross product, direction of cross product. Suppose A is in one direction, B is in another direction, A cross B, if you show, then we will have this thumb. Suppose B is on the other side, how we will show A, B is on the other side, right. So, the thumb points downward. So, this is how we try to find out the direction of the cross product, that is diagrammatically shown here. This what I have demonstrated is explained here for a positive charge and for a negative charge, and only thing that we should keep in mind is, first we have to stretch out our other fingers in the direction of the first vector, it is V cross B, right, that order is very important. So, that is why I have mentioned the order in the earlier case. This FB is equal to Q V cross B. So, what is the first vector? V. So, in the direction of the V, the fingers are shown and it is moved in the direction of B. This is for positive charge, and for the negative charge also it is V cross B done, but the thumb still points upward direction. You may ask a question, why? In the second diagram also the thumb points the upward direction, but the force is taken as the downward direction. Why this consideration? Look at the charge now, have a look at this. We have a negative charge. So, in that case opposite to that of the thumb we have to take, because this is a negative charge. So, this right hand rule will be very useful in finding the direction of the resultant of cross product. In our case it is for finding the force due to the magnetic field, because it is the result of the cross product of the velocity vector and the magnetic field vector. And now we are going to see the comparison between the magnetic and electric force. There are several important differences between the electric and magnetic forces. The electric force acts along the direction of the electric field as far as the positive charge is concerned, whereas the magnetic force acts perpendicular to the magnetic field. The electric force acts on a charged particle regardless of whether the particle is moving or not, whereas the magnetic force acts on the charged particle only when the particle is in motion. So, these are the two important differences. The magnetic force acts only when the charge has a velocity. If the charge is at rest, then also there is no force. So, not only the direction, if theta is 0, then there is no force, that we have discussed, but if the velocity is 0, V itself will become 0, the body is at rest, the charge is at rest, in that case also magnetic force does not act. So, only when the charge is moving, the force is acting. There are few more points that we can take up based on the work criterion. The electric force does work in displacing a charged particle, whereas the magnetic force associated with a steady magnetic field, which is a uniform magnetic field, does no work when particle is displaced. This point we will understand as we proceed with the other related explanations. We will go ahead with the other points. We conclude that the kinetic energy of the charged particle moving through a magnetic field cannot be altered by the magnetic force. That is, when a charged particle moves with velocity through a magnetic field, the field cannot change the speed. Here the speed is the magnitude of the velocity, that is the meaning of this, and the kinetic energy of the particle, but can alter the direction of the velocity. When the charge moves and when the force also acts, the magnetic force also acts, it can only change the direction of the velocity, but not the magnitude of the velocity. So, the kinetic energy remains constant, that is what is implied here. And I told no, there is a curved path taken by the charge in the diagram, and now we are arriving at the explanation for the reason why it is taking a curved path. Look at this, circulating charges in magnetic field. So, this illustration will give you why charges take curved path in magnetic field when they move. The path of the moving charge moving perpendicular to a magnetic field is circular. The plane of the circular path will be perpendicular to the magnetic field. It is illustrated here. I will come back to the diagram because a lot more are to be explained in this. This is because the magnetic force will be perpendicular to the direction of the velocity, and hence the force becomes a centripetal force. This I would like to underline. So, the magnetic force becomes a centripetal force. If you have the understanding of property of centripetal force, all the idea that we are going to discuss henceforth will become very easy. The centripetal force is the force which alters only the direction of the motion, and it will not change the magnitude of the velocity, or it will not change the speed. So, that is the property of centripetal force. Why? Because the velocity and the centripetal force both are always at 90 degree, they are always perpendicular to each other. That is possible only in a circular path. So, that is why the charge takes a circular path in a magnetic field. So, in this circular path, if you take any one point for our discussion, suppose at this point it has a velocity, and because of the magnetic field which is existing upward, which is not shown fully in the diagram, but it is existing in the upward direction, and the force is towards this direction. It is pointing a particular central point, it is pointing one direction, and at this point randomly if you choose, say let us take this point, here also the direction is towards the center and this is the direction of the velocity. What happened to the direction of the velocity? It is altered, and the magnitude wise they are not altered, the two velocities are one and the same, that means the speed is the same. So, what is the role of the force, the magnetic force that we have shown here? It is only altering the direction. At this altered direction also the force will be perpendicular, because the force is always perpendicular to the velocity, that is the Lorentz force equation telling us, right. So, the path is a circular path, every moment it is getting altered, and thus it comes back to the same point. So, magnetic force cannot do work because it is not altering the energy, kinetic energy, because velocity remains the same, only the direction is altered. We have some equations to take care of the time period of revolution and also the radius of the circular path, all that. Only thing that we have to keep in mind is the magnetic force becomes the centripetal force, then the formulations will become easy. The time period of the circular motion could be written by the following formulae. I have written the centripetal force Fc is equal to the magnetic force Fb. I have substituted for them, the expressions are written. Why it is sin 90? Because the angle between velocity and the b is 90 as far as the circular path is concerned. So, this is rewritten for radius, and what is inferred? The radius is proportional to the velocity, and m, q and b are constants as far as the charge is concerned, if you keep the magnetic field also as a steady magnetic field. So, what does that imply? When the charged particle moves with a higher velocity, the radius will also be larger. If it moves with lesser velocity, the radius will also be lesser. I would like to show it here with one diagram. Let us assume this is the direction in which the magnetic field is existing. That means, the magnetic field is going into the page, it is going into the page. So, in that case, if a charge moves like this, so this is the velocity, this is the magnetic field B, it is downward, you have to keep the orientations in mind. So, V cross B will be exerting a force in this direction. So, let us assume the magnetic field is existing throughout into the page. So, because of this, what will happen? This will get deviated in the path. So, this will be happening at every segmental level, and this is taking a circular path finally, it is towards the center, at every moment it is towards the center, the force due to magnetic field. And if it is moving with a particular velocity, there is a particular radius r. If the velocity is more, suppose another path, this is the path, why it is taking a larger radius? Because the velocity is larger for that, that is why the radius is also larger. So, I would like to write it as V dash r dash for that. So, this is one quick inference that we should keep in mind. The radius and the velocity are directly related to each other, and that equation can be further modified for finding the angular frequency. It is V divided by r, that is again a constant. So, it moves with the particular frequency, angular frequency. The angular frequency can be written in terms of time period like this, 2 pi by t. So, if you write it for time period, we get another interesting expression. This is the time period. What do we have? It is equal to 2 pi m divided by qb. If you look at this equation, the geometry r and the velocity, they do not come into the picture. So, the time period is also constant, whatever be the path, whether it is a smaller radius or larger radius, because of the velocity differences, the time period is the same. So, the charge executes a circular path with a particular time period, which is decided only by the mass, the value of the charge and also the magnetic field. So, these are some of the results that we could keep in mind, and they have lots and lots of applications, especially in accelerating a charge in a circular path. When we combine this with the electric field also, if we have an electric field to take care of acceleration during a particular leg or particular duration, then if we increase the velocity, then it will have to take a larger path, and if you increase the path, the velocity will increase and vice versa. So, this is the principle of the particle accelerator called cyclotron, but that is beyond our curriculum, but this will help us to understand the concepts related to that. So, charges move in circular paths, and this is true only when the charges move perpendicular to the magnetic field, then only the plane is also perpendicular, the circular plane is perpendicular to the magnetic field. What will happen if it is oriented at a direction? So, that is also to be discussed. Have a look at this. In that case, it will take a helical path. If the velocity v of the charge subtends any angle theta other than 90 degree with the magnetic field B, then the path taken by the charge is helical. Helix is shown here. I will come back to the diagram, but have a look at this. The magnetic field is upward, it is shown in one arrow, and the velocity vector is shown here. It is not at 90 degree, it is at an angle theta. So, this could be resolved into two components, the perpendicular component and parallel component to the magnetic field. So, these two velocities have two different effects. We have already learnt, if the movement or the direction of the velocity is in the direction of the magnetic field, there is no magnetic force experienced by the charge. So, have a look at this resolution. So, here I have resolved it expression wise. The perpendicular component could be taken as v sin theta and parallel component could be taken as v cos theta. So, this parallel component will go unaffected because there is no magnetic force acting in this component. But what about the perpendicular component? Because of the perpendicular component, the charge will go in a circle. So, it is the combination of two motions. One component of the velocity makes it go in a circle, another component of the velocity has a tangential motion. So, it is a combination of a circular motion and a tangential motion. So, what will happen? It will take a helical path. Helical path is the combination of a circular motion and a lateral or tangential motion happening together on a charge. So, that is what is happening here. And look at the helical path. This is the helix. This is the actual path taken by the charged particle. And as far as this path is concerned, we are interested in finding one technical information. What is the distance between two spirals? That is called pitch. What is the pitch? The pitch P of a helical path is the linear advancement for one complete rotation. That is what is the distance between the two circular sections. We can get an expression for that also, because the time period is constant as far as the charge, magnetic field and the mass of the charge are concerned. So, the path P, the distance, that is the path here, the distance is the time period times the v cos theta. Because why v cos theta? Because that is the velocity, the parallel component with which the charge is moving. So, we can substitute for the time period which we already got. So, this is the expression for the pitch of the path. It depends on the angle, because here the velocity is subtending an angle with the magnetic field. So, like that we can keep on discussing the concepts related to the magnetic force that is acting on a charge. Now, there is an important application which would kindle some interest in your minds. This magnetic force gives a natural protection to earth, because earth has the magnetic field around it. This magnetic field is shielding earth from the harmful cosmic radiations. Shall we have a look at the illustration, a diagram which would depict how the magnetic field is existing around earth and what are the advantages of having such a magnetic field. Have a look at this. This is the magnetic protection that we have over earth. This is earth. This has magnetic field like this, right. This magnetic field is coming out from this direction. This is the magnetic south, this is the magnetic north. Actually, our south pole is this. So, this is geographic north pole and this is geographic south pole. So, the magnetic lines come out from the magnetic north, which is a geographic south, and it is going in here. If you look at this blue lines, these are the magnetic lines, blue lines shown here. When a charge which is from the cosmos, which is called the cosmic ray, when it is coming towards the equatorial region, here the most of the living takes place, right, equatorial region, this is traveling perpendicular to the magnetic field. This is the direction of the magnetic field, this is the direction of the velocity. So, they get deflected, they do not come near the equatorial region. So, the equatorial region is protected from the cosmic radiation. Sometimes because of some angle involved, have a look at this, they get trapped, the helical path is shown in brown color. No, the charges get trapped here and they do not approach the equatorial region. But what about the polar region? In the polar region, the charges move in the direction of the field, either along or opposite, they do not experience much of the force. So, this polar region is prone to the cosmic hazard, but equatorial region where the most of the life living takes place, this is protected. So, that is the natural mechanism we have. So, this is again a diagram that shows how the cosmic radiation is affecting only the polar region and the equatorial region is remaining safe. This is also another diagram. The charged particles sometimes permanently get trapped and they dissipate in energy, they lose velocity and finally they lose their kinetic energy. So, natural protection is given to earth by having the magnetic field around the earth. So, Lorentz force explains how the cosmic radiation, the charged particles are not reaching the equatorial region much. If studies are conducted near the polar region and the equatorial region, the intensity of cosmic ray is found to be higher only near the polar region and it is very less near the equatorial region. See, these are some of the observations made. This will be useful when we learn about the Lorentz force. Think you have enjoyed this lecture, the Lorentz force. It is time for us to look at the summary of today's lecture. In this lecture, we have seen the concepts of force on due to magnetic field, which is called Lorentz force, and then circulating charges in magnetic field. Along with that, we have seen the helical path taken by the charged particles, and finally, the magnetic protection which is given to the earth from harmful cosmic radiations. Before we wind up this session, let us test our understanding by answering these questions. Explain about the Lorentz force. Describe the circular path taken by the moving charges in magnetic field. When does a moving charge take a helical path in magnetic field? How is earth protected by the harmful cosmic radiations? With this, I would like to conclude this lecture and see you in other lectures with greater concepts related to the magnetic force. Thank you for watching this program.